You might be thinking, oh no, what kind of crude nonsense is he making this time? Well, now, it might be crude and made with dodgy offcuts and bodged together without fancy joints or fancy glue or any glue, but it's not nonsense. This could be a very useful and a very cheap addition to the field railway. Just wait and see. Since I started making the railway a few years ago now, I found it lends itself to lots of simple innovations, and this is just another of them. The railway, as you know, is crude and simple, which means that whatever sits on it doesn't need to be precise either. For this job, for instance, I'm using the little wagons that I made for pulling wheelbarrows along. Remember them? Very useful at planting season. Now these are obviously rough and ready, as you see, and they use the smallest wheels I've made from pipe, and they have no proper bearings, just some grease on the axle where it pushes up against the frame, but they work. They are small, but they have large flanges, because that's what keeps the wheels on the rails, even when the rails are a little higgledy-piggledy, or a lot higgledy-piggledy. So I'm starting with those for a base, and I'm making a new sort of wagon, which I hope will move and store the garlic. And of course, removing 8 screws, and I can get those wheel bases back again in time for the planting season. The garlic started really well this season, and it looked juicy and lush and strong right through the winter and into the spring. But then, I don't know, it went downhill quite quickly. I think I suspect it was the earlier heat wave, the first heat wave that we had about 6 weeks ago, and they seemed to stop growing altogether. I'm not even sure if this crop's worth harvesting, to be honest. Too many small ones, which is pretty miserable. But if I don't harvest it, then there'll be nothing to plant for next year. So I have to go ahead, I think. This isn't a floor. It's just a template, so all the holes end up in the right place. Now, as you know, drying garlic is the main challenge. I hang it upside down in racks in the shed, and that usually works well, but the last couple of years I've lost some to rot. So this is my new plan. What if the garlic could stay outside in the warm breeze for longer? Then surely it would dry better and be more likely to last. But of course I can't just leave it out there on the ground and hope it doesn't rain. I need to get it off the ground and be ready to move it inside under shelter at the drop of a hat. Because the weather's so changeable here, it might look good in the morning and be raining by lunchtime. But there's a lot of it these days, and it takes a bit of organising to get a team together for digging it up and spreading it out. And I wouldn't want to try and round up the gang at short notice with the clouds looming. So anyway, this is my possible solution. Load these racks in the field and then leave them there for as long as I can, and then wheel them inside when I need to. Should work, surely. Strangely enough, these drying rack wagons took a bit of thinking about. Longer to think about it than it did to make them. Because obviously I don't want to spend any money on them, if I can help it. Well, obviously. And there's going to be a lot of weight on them, you know, with the fresh garlic. So whatever I make has to be strong. And what if I need those wheelbarrow wagons before the garlic's sold? I need to be able to dismantle them in a simple way. So I'm using odds and ends to make up frames. And the race is on, so there's no time for niceties. Rough and ready, but strong. And the bottom rack is screwed down to the wagon and can be unscrewed later, but the ones that go on top, above that, they are held in place with bolts that just drop into holes. So the whole thing can be lifted off again if needed. That's the plan. Lift it off without unloading all the garlic first, if I have to. I couldn't do that on my own, it would be too heavy, but with some help on the other side it should be possible, maybe? Quite pleased with these actually. They might actually work. I made 2 of them. I could bring them back in through the workshop, or maybe push them along the railway up to the drying tunnel. Just have to see how heavy they are when they're full up. Good, 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 good. But that's not all. The garlic beds got bigger last year, so the railway needs to get longer. Hank and Ashley helped extend it. Let's try that now. Okay. There's one section that's all welded together, so it could be lifted out of the way if I need to drag a tree through here or something like that. Okay, I'm letting this down. Mind yourself.
Washers.
No washers yet.
Yes.
It's supposed to fit neatly in there. Oh, yes. Nice. You have a slight height differential. You just have to stand there the whole time.
Still not enough weight.
I think it's just because we never levelled the bit that's already in the garlic.
Yeah.
But we'll do that once the garlic's lifted. In! It's so smooth looking, kind of. The other section is my normal combination of recycled sweepers and short pegs and cheap flat bar steel. I don't need to explain all that again, do I? I've made enough videos about how this is constructed. But just to say, I wouldn't change anything about the design because it works really well, actually. And if you don't have a tractor and you need to move heavy things around, then obviously you need to get on and make yourself a railway too. Obviously. Right then, I'm exhausted before I start, but I'm hoping to get a team together and we'll try all this out this week because the weather's very, very hot and dry.
That's quite good.
Quite good, bloody marvellous.
Marvelous. Oh.
Now wait, before you go, while we're down here, let's have a quick look at the squashes. Now, the rabbits undermined 4 plants and that was the end of them. But the others are doing really well. Lots of lovely flowers and look, some baby squashes already. How exciting!